Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Vixen Voice. Today, I'm chatting with my very dear friend, Jamie Duggan, who is a health and wellness expert. And in fact, she shares her expertise with me. So, if you remember a couple of weeks back, or maybe a month or so, she was on coaching me on health and wellness. So, we'll give you a little update, but that is not the purpose of our episode today. Today, we actually had a panel coming to you to chat about gratitude. And I will tell you that Mercury is in retrograde at its highest point today, and it's been a doozy. So a couple of our guests couldn't join. Jamie and I are late going live, and when we hopped on the first time, I couldn't even remember her darn name. So buckle your seatbelt. It's going to be fun. We're going to do this because we want to chat with all of you about gratitude. And here's the thing. If you are not watching us on YouTube, please go there and subscribe. And here's the cool part about YouTube. You can drop us comments underneath the video, right? So we can continue the conversation live with you. So as we're talking about gratitude today and what it means to us, I would love to hear from all of you. What does gratitude mean to you and how do you practice it? So Jamie, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me again, April. So fun chatting with you.
Yes, I can't wait. I'm sad that I'm in Nashville and you're in San Diego
I
because we're not in the
know.
same room, but it is what it is.
Yes. Together in spirit.
Yes, yeah. So Jamie and I were together in Sedona, Arizona this past weekend for the Vixen Mastermind, and we had a great time and we had lots of gratitude going on amidst all that beauty and with all of our amazing friends in the mastermind with us. So this is fun. Just a couple of days later, I get to talk to you again. So tell me, in the 4 days since you've been back from the Vixen Mastermind, what's been going on? What have your wins been?
Well, when I came back, I was so grateful to, on the topic of gratitude, I was so grateful for just the refresh, the clarity, the reconnection with my business, because, it can be so, sometimes life can be distracting. So this week has been very well focused, and I have been checking things off my list, and not just tasks but actual projects that I needed to get done. So it's been busy, but it's been awesome.
I love it. And thanks, Jamie, for, being open and sharing that. I just want to share one way that I practice gratitude, in my life with my clients and with my team is that we always start every meeting focusing on our wins for the week. So it really just flips your mindset because, so many times 95% of our day is wonderful and glorious and 5% sucks. And so many people, when they go to bed at night, they have that highlight reel of the 5% that sucks going on in their head, right?
Yeah.
So for me, a practice of gratitude and celebrating wins is so important because, and Jamie, I'd love to talk about gratitude and health and wellness, and I'll talk about it when it comes to business, not just our personal lives. Because, there really is an epidemic going on where humanity is addicted to the dopamine that negative thoughts and negative emotions stirs up. So you really do have to reset that. Just like I'm sure Jamie and I will get into like hormones and at our age, how we're having to reset and fight against hormones, right? To stay healthy and fit.
Yes.
It's very much a physical, chemical occurrence in your body that you get addicted to these negative thoughts and emotions. So, I mean, gratitude is important on so many layers, but let's start there. So, Jamie, what does
Yeah.
gratitude mean to you, like in that concept of mindset and living your daily life?
Gratitude is, if you don't have gratitude, you have nothing. And the more
Yeah.
that you focus, whatever you focus on really expands. And so for me, leading from a grateful heart, leading from a place of gratitude just helps me feel more fulfilled, more
Yeah.
present, more patient and loving, and more accepting of life, because it happens whether we want it to or not, right? But when you come at it from a place of gratitude, you're much more able to just kind of roll with it, because you realize that every day is a gift.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. And then I think it's so important to take moments during the day. Like I'm looking over here, I keep a candle lit on my desk, and it's just a reminder for me. For me, it represents God. So I take that moment to pause and be grateful and thankful for everything that's given to me. And also just to slow down and stay focused on my purpose, because we all have a greater purpose than our to-do list, right? And I think when we don't practice gratitude, the pull of the busyness, the pull of the to-do list, the pull of shoulding all over ourselves, I should do this, I should do this, like you really can go down a rabbit hole. So like, what's that trick you're going to do? When you were on last time, we were talking to Alethea Ida about putting wellness into your space and plants and different things that remind us to slow down. So I think gratitude's so important, and it's not important just one time a day. Like gratitude journals are great, meditation and prayer practice is great, but like how are you going to have those little moments throughout the day that you're reminded to be grateful? So Jamie, what do you do to stay in gratitude?
So I have really trained myself that when I start having the negative thoughts, I've become very aware of it, because I've done that work to raise my level of consciousness around my thoughts. So when I have those negative thoughts, I try to flip it. When the kids are going crazy, or, and they're making a mess or they're loud, I remind myself to be grateful that I have kids that are making a mess and noise, because some people don't have that. And I have healthy, active, wild boys. And, when I exercise and I don't really feel like it, I remind myself that I am grateful for a healthy body, because not everybody has the ability to exercise. So I really try to just remind myself throughout the day to flip the switch. I love my home. There's aspects, that everybody wants to change, but I'm so grateful that I'm home, and that I have all the, comforts of that. So for me, it's really a mindset practice and the self-talk.
No, I love it. And I think it's a muscle you flex just like anything else, right? Because so I shared that at the beginning of every meeting with my team, my clients, etc., like we celebrate our wins, right? And if you're a member of my Abundant Women's Facebook group, Abundant Business Women, first question I ask you when you join is, hey, what are your wins this week? Or what are you excited about your wins, right? And I love to ask that question because so many high performers do not stop to reflect on wins, right? They're looking forward to the next thing. And an important concept in high performance is to stop, reflect, and look at your wins. But I'm saying this because, at the retreat this weekend, when y'all first sat down, remember what was it, like 30 something boxes, and you had to fill them all with a win you'd had year to date? So talk to us about that. Like, was it easy for you because you practiced this, or did you have to flex that muscle and stretch yourself?
I think it's easy in the beginning because it's all the natural things that you think of. We've talked about being, trained by Brendan Burchard to really, measure ourselves against our wins when we feel like we're not making progress. What are we actually doing well at? So that muscle's getting stronger, but as you get down to the nitty gritty, it starts to get a little bit more challenging because you have to dig into the micro moments, the things that are, that you wouldn't necessarily think of as a win, but are still wins. So I love that practice.
And for me, that's when you get into the real wins and the real gratitude practice, because that's sustainable. We're not going to have big wins all the time, right? And so it teaches you to look at the small moments and be grateful for them or see them as wins. And I bring that up because I think it was the book The Magic. It was by the author of The Secret, and it was a book on gratitude, and it was like a 20-day practice, and each day you had to do something different. I don't remember, but like day 4 was like, write 10 things you're grateful for every morning, and you could not repeat something you'd already said, right? And then you actually, there was a format, you wrote it out and you repeated it 3 times, and then you were like, oh, I'm so grateful for, like, you know, you were like effusively grateful. I think I used that word wrong, but you get the point. And then and the funny thing is, like, by the second week or maybe day 5, like, I was laughing out loud at the stuff I was writing down, because you really do have to dig in there. But that was a gift as well, because it taught me not to take myself so seriously, that sometimes there are these small wins or things to be grateful for that we take for granted, right? And it's okay to, like, joke around and laugh, and like, gratitude doesn't have to be serious, right? It's actually a joyful practice.
It's a total joyful practice. There's actually a book, A Thousand, oh, now I can't think of it, but it's on gratitude and how it's this lady who goes through and, you know, she wants to write 100 things she's grateful for every day, and she challenges you to do the 10.
Wow.
And so at one point I was doing it, you know, kind of like in early 2020 when everybody was home. So now suddenly I was sitting on my couch at 8 o'clock in the morning, not in, you know, at work. And it was like, I can hear the birds. I can, you know, I'm enjoying my hot coffee. I'm enjoying my quiet, like things that you wouldn't even really think of. I'm enjoying that I fold laundry because I have clothes to wear.
And you're doing it with love for your family.
Exactly.
That's so funny. It's funny you say you hear the birds, because at my new place, there's a lot of street noise because I'm on a busy street, but also there are tons of birds. So when I wake up, I hear the birds, and I'll go to my rooftop if it's a nice day, and just drink my coffee and listen to the birds. And it's like my new favorite thing. In fact, I shared with you, I got the Hatch Sleep. So there's one that you can wake up to the sound of birds. So I switched to that, and I'm like, oh, this is so much more pleasant. Like, I'm so grateful for the birds waking me up instead of some screaming alarm in my head, right?
Whoever invented the alarm sounds, like, really needs to take a lesson in human behavior, psychology, all the things. You think that that's going to start people out in a good place for the day?
Yeah, maybe it was engineered for the opposite. We never know. So, I mean, yeah, but no, a good point, because, like, I mean, the alarm's a necessary evil, right? And I would always look forward to that day that I didn't have to set my alarm. Like, not that I sleep super late, but just not having to get up by the alarm.
Sure.
Here's the funny thing. Now that I've switched to the Hatch, I look forward to my alarm in the morning. It's like this beautiful light that comes on. It's birds singing. So I actually still, like, have the alarm on the weekends. I'll do it a little later in case I don't wake up. But, like, I want to wake up to that. So to your point, like, there was this thing that was horrible and you couldn't, like, you know, you didn't want to deal with. And now it's been turned into something beautiful. And honestly, that's the power of gratitude. When you start looking at the world differently through a different lens of gratitude, it really becomes magical and special. And it's so amazing.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I actually, like, it doesn't really matter what day of the week it is or what time of day it is. I still don't want to get out of bed. I just love it. It's cozy, right? However, I do, because I have such a sacred morning routine and time. I like it. Like, even though this morning is a prime example, I was like, oh, I just want to stay in bed. It feels good. I'm tired. And I was like, no, you love your routine. You're going to get up. You're going to read. You're going to have coffee. And you're going to exercise. And I did it, and it's like, oh, it is so amazing. And it really starts with that gratitude, because it's like, those are gifts that I get to give myself every single day.
Yeah.
And nobody can take that away from me.
No, I love it. And, I feel the same way when I get up and do my meditation and prayer practice, because a lot of times you're like, oh, I'm not, especially this week we had jet lag from, well, you didn't, I did, coming back. And, we stayed up till 10 or something Arizona time, which was like midnight my time. Like, I never stay up that late. Like, that last night we pushed it, and it's like, so then I come home and I'm like trained to stay up later, and I'm like, the next morning's just like, oh. But like, same thing. Once I go through my practice, it's like, oh my gosh, I like miraculously feel better. Like, I feel great. Even those mornings you wake up and you're like, oh, my throat's a little raw. Am I getting sick? Like, once I do my meditation or prayer, boom, it's gone. It's so crazy.
Well, and if I do, which it rarely happens anymore, but if I do skip my morning routine,
Yeah.
my day is not the same. So it's like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I agree. I actually skipped mine this morning because I got up at 4:30 because I had to start my day at 5:30, and I had a lot of stupid errands to do around the house. So I spent my morning doing that instead of meditation or prayer. And what's funny is, before we were getting on, as you know, I love podcasting day. Like, it gives me energy. And I was like, gosh, I'm tired. I think I'm going to take a nap after this one. And I guarantee, had I actually done my meditation prayer, I would not be freaking tired right now, right? So I'm hard-headed. I have to learn the lesson the painful way sometimes. So that's what's happening today.
We're never perfect, right? It's always practicing. It's always just doing our best.
Totally
and
agree.
having those gentle reminders.
Yes. So let's chat health and wellness. Like, how do you feel gratitude is important, and what kind of work do you do with your clients? Because I know, a lot of people are like, health and wellness coach, what do you do? Or holistic wellness. But I know a lot of the work you do is mindset coaching, because, it's not just that they should do what you're saying when you're together, but success lies in like changing their habits and their lives. So how do you tell us a little bit about how you work with your coaching clients and how you weave gratitude in and mindset?
Yeah. So as far as the mindset and gratitude goes with, creating a healthy lifestyle, it all starts with really honoring yourself and your body. Because I think that, it is you talk about the epidemic of the negative thoughts and the addiction to the dopamine of, what's hard and what's gone wrong. And I think that that's something that a lot of people struggle with health and wellness, because there's something that has happened where it is, in their mind, it is a challenge to make the good choices. Oh, why do I have to eat healthy? I just want to eat, what I want to eat. Oh, why do I have to exercise? It hurts so much. Why do I have to do this? And the really sad thing is that that's just that addiction to the negativity. But when you come at it from a place of gratitude and you realize, my God, I have a gift. I have the choice to fuel my body with healthy food that is going to energize me and make me feel good, inside and out. And oh my gosh, I have an able body. Some people aren't born with able bodies. Some people have accidents, and it always amazes me when you see the people who have lost limbs or multiple limbs or were born without them, and they're climbing mountains and they're riding centenarian bike rides. It's, you need to be grateful for that body that God gave you. That's my belief. Be grateful for the body that you were given.
It's your temple.
It's your temple, and it's not yours. It's on loan. And, but we have the freedom to do these things. So when you have an able body, when you have the ability to choose what you put into your body, how you fuel it, it becomes so much more integrative, because it's not resisting. There's no punishment in it. It's I'm so grateful. And, you know, so with clients, we really talk about what, you know, what do they want to feel like? How do you want, you know, your life to be? What do you expect your older years to be? Okay, so we're going to work on making everything that you do as a choice. Nobody's forcing you. Nobody's forcing you. And the more that you choose, the more grateful you're going to be, because you're going to be so grateful for that body. I am so thankful every day that I have a healthy body. And you know what? It also goes into, I think we talked about a little bit the self-love on the last podcast that we were on.
100%.
And, you know, loving yourself means taking care of the body that you were given. And when you're grateful for it, you're going to want to treat it as such. You're grateful for, you know, the things in your life. We treat the things that we're grateful for well.
Yeah.
If we're grateful for our home, we take care of it better. If we're grateful for our car, we take care of it better. If we think that they're junk, then we don't really take care of them.
Yeah.
So how you think about yourself really can
Well, and earlier I was kind of joking about, earlier I was joking about folding the laundry with love for your family, but I'm serious. Like, you know, if you're like, oh, I have to cook versus, oh, I get to nourish my family, or I get to do this with love. And like, you know, there's power in that. That's why you bless your food, to remove anything negative in it, because that's why you pray over food. Because if someone's making your food with a negative intent, that energy is in your food, right?
Absolutely.
So if you think about your family, you would never want to put anything bad into their food or into your home or into your, like, their lives. Yet we do it to ourselves all the time. Like, why don't we love ourselves to the same level, right? So that's what stood out to me when you were talking. And what also came to me is the power of the pause. Because last night I went to a breathwork class at the Healing Society here in Nashville. And, you know, I was chatting afterward with the lady next to me, and she's like, oh, I never do anything like this. Because I was like, how was that for you? And like, her friend was the teacher. That's why she was there. And she was like, I'm just go, thinking about next thing. Like, I never stop and pause like this. And like, it just struck me like, how grateful I am that I understand the power of the pause, because so many people don't. And when you don't take that pause, it's not good for your health and wellness. It's not good for your spiritual self. It's not good for your emotions. It's not good for your mental capacity. Like, everything needs a rest, right? So, you know, gratitude, having that moment of gratitude for me is a lot about the pause. Like, and in fact, we did box breathing last night, which if you ever do any of my webinars, we do box breathing to start so that we get grounded in there. And so it's like 4 breaths in, hold for 4 breaths, 4 breaths out, stop for 4 breaths, and then up. And, you know, it represents different cycles. So for me, my favorite is the bottom one. Because it's like when everything's just like emptied out of you and you have the void. And when you have the void, that's when good things can come, right? Like all the things you want, all the things that are meant for you, all the blessings, all the abundance, all the beauty. But like if we don't ever sit in the void or the pause, like there's no room for these things to come into for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's even, that goes into intermittent fasting. Like, that's why fasting is such a spiritual practice, and even such a healthy practice for your body, not just for weight loss, but for so many different functions of your body and your brain. And it's when you take that rest, when you give your body a rest, when you give your mind a rest, because we are addicted to consumption.
Yeah.
We're addicted to consumption. And consumption does not breed gratitude. It breeds comparison.
Interesting. I like that. So, gratitude versus consumption. I've actually never thought of it from that standpoint. And that's why I love having these conversations, because so many people say, be grateful, have gratitude. And it's like, okay, what are you talking about? Because
What does that
gratitude
actually
to
mean?
Jamie means something different than gratitude to April, right? So I get kind of nerdy about like, okay, but what do you mean by that? Because people say things and it's like a surface level thing, right? So like underneath, what does that really represent for you? Which is why I wanted to have this chat today. And you're in my Abundant Soul Healing Facebook group, and I posted it. I was like, what does gratitude mean to you, right? Because everybody practices it differently and it means different things to them. But it's really interesting. And I was watching a show about the frequency. They claim the frequency of gratitude is stronger than the frequency of love. I'm not sure I buy that. I think true unconditional love is the highest frequency, I believe. But I mean, I'm sure gratitude is darn close, because how can you get to unconditional love if you don't have gratitude, right? Because you're seeing all the things wrong. So how do you get, and I'm sure there are people like, why would I want to get to unconditional love? Think about this. If everyone in this world were walking around in gratitude and with unconditional love for themselves and others, we basically have heaven on earth, right? Like the world would be so different.
Absolutely. I do think I believe that the gratitude has a higher frequency than love, only because you cannot have that love without gratitude. You cannot unconditionally love yourself without being absolutely grateful for every ounce of your being, soul, and body, but that's interesting. I love that though. I love knowing and understanding. There was a book I read, Force versus Power.
Love that book. Oh, my brother a couple of months ago was like, you need to go read Force versus Power again. Like, I don't know. I was in a bug about something.
It's so grounding. Yeah. It was amazing.
So tell us about your takeaway from the book, because I'm sure people are listening and they have not read it.
Yeah. So, I mean, so many takeaways from the book, but I really, really loved the understanding that nothing positive, nothing loving comes from force. And it was just really, because I've never really thought of force. You think of some force as being negative, right? But I also think of force as like moving you forward. But then when I understood that power is really drawing rather than pulling or pushing, I just loved that. And understanding, how different entities really like function on more force, and why they're so corrupt, and how if you really want to have influence and impact, you have to lead with power. And power is that it's the law of attraction, really, that works, for good.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting pulling up this topic because I love that book too. And I like this idea of the frequency scale because, I know you're the same way. I try my darndest not to judge anyone because, one, it's not my job, and two, why do I want that responsibility on my shoulder, right? Like, that's
Right.
God's job, not mine.
Right.
But that book, I liked how they talked about you're just at different frequencies. Even though theoretically some are higher, it doesn't necessarily mean better. We're all on our own journey, right? And I
Right.
also like this concept that if a handful of people in the world pull themselves to the highest frequency, we pull the whole up with us. Like,
Yes.
not all the way up there, right? So I feel that's very fulfilling when sometimes you're like, oh gosh, I can't change the world. Well, technically you can by working on yourself, getting more in gratitude, getting more into unconditional love, being the light. And when you do that, you don't even have to say anything to anyone. Like they come with you, right?
Right.
And I think we talked about this weekend. So the interesting thing is when you're growing, you either attract people by the light or you trigger them by your light. And actually, the triggering is a gift as well because it's showing them what they need to work on, what their next obstacle is. But when you first start growing spiritually, that's a hard concept because you just see like people getting triggered and you're like, oh my gosh, did I do that? And like you have to learn to like appreciate it, and they're on their journey and they have free will and they're going to do what they need to do.
Yes.
But yeah, I love thinking about being a different consciousness instead of higher and lower. Like, hey, we're just in different consciousness, you know? It is what it is. Let's keep on going.
Yes, and I loved that it's so much up to us and how open we are.
Yeah.
And how much we want it. You know, it's not like you're born with a set cap.
Yeah.
You know, the potential lies within you.
Oh yeah, 100%. There's no.
But I feel like a lot of people don't really fully embrace that.
No. I would agree with you, and it breaks my heart. Like, one of my favorite things is to show people, hey, there's some more levels, and like you're totally able to get there. Like, this is your choice. So I had a question for you, because last night when we were discussing after the breath work, like our ahas from it. So one person in the room, one of the women was sharing. I think I brought it up, like, because if you want or desire something, that's actually your soul whispering to you the direction you should go in, right? But society has told us, oh, that's selfish. Like, so we have to unlearn this. So I mentioned that, and she said, yeah, like, when you have to force something or you have resistance, it probably means you shouldn't be going that way. And it made me stop and think, because when you and I were talking about resistance on my Facebook Live, I kind of have this theory that sometimes when there's resistance, it's darkness or something getting in your way and you have to push through it, right? So again, she could be saying it in a different way than I'm saying it. So I'm curious, like, because I do believe when you're in your power and not forcing things, things come easier. They feel easier. But then we have this situation of, I don't want to wake up and work out. Like, do I push through that? Or how would you apply force to get them out of bed to go work out? I'm sorry, not force, power.
Resistance.
I misspoke.
Or power.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think of, like, because the resistance absolutely can be, like, you know, dark and light, for sure.
Yes.
But the thing to ask yourself is this in line with my beliefs, my goals, my true desires? Because resisting getting out of bed in the morning, well, the power that needs to be implemented is, why are you wanting to improve your health?
Yeah.
You know,
it's the pull of the future.
It's the pull of the future. This is not punishment. This is giving your kids a better you. This is giving your grandkids a better you. This is giving you a better you. You know, it's not, again, right back to, it's not a chore. It's a choice. Nobody's making you get out of bed, but, you know, how long do you want to live? What quality of life do you want to live? Those things are choices. And if you want that, then there are choices and actions that need to be made, you know. So if 5:30 in the morning is the only time that you truly have to work out, or the only time that you know you will actually get your butt in gear, then you do it. Right. It's not force. It's not forceful. It's moving in choice.
Well, and I think you have to have a clear, like something that aligns with your values. And I think that's like what a coach can help you find, right? Not telling you you should do this because of this, but hey, like you said, you want to chase your kids around ache free, right? You want to like be there and have the stamina to do these things. Because I can tell you this morning, I woke up feeling a little achy. It was weird but I went and I get this proactive physical therapy. Like nothing's wrong with me, but just to like stretch me out and like make sure I'm in good shape and stuff. And I love going every week. And then I did the breath work, and I think I just released a lot of things. Like maybe I'm detoxing, so my muscles like even are a little tense. And I was like, I don't like this. I don't want to wake up feeling achy because I'm very blessed. I really have no aches and pains, knock on wood. I'm always like grateful and say thank you for that. But like this one morning of waking up that way, I'm like, I got to get busy because I don't want to feel like this one day. Right. So I think when you have that moment, like really documenting it and capitalizing on it, and then that morning that you're not feeling achy and you wake up and you're like, I don't feel like going to the gym. It's like, remember, you don't want to feel that way in like 10 years, right? Like, this is why we're doing this today.
It's really about grounding yourself in your ideal future self. Like, what do I actually want? It's not about today. I forget, if you and I were talking about this or somebody else, I think it was somebody else, but on the habits or choices that we make that have immediate reward are often the ones that have long-term consequences, and the ones that have delayed reward have long-term payout. Payout. Because, it's okay. So not getting out of the gym, out of bed that morning. Okay. No big deal. Are you going to be suddenly overweight, sick, and, immobile in your 80s? No. But if you do that consistently, or for example, today you chose to forego your morning routine. That was an instant gratification, instant reward, and now you're having the long-term consequences. Obviously
well, the interesting is it wasn't even a reward for me. I just felt I didn't have time for it. Like I hated to not do it, but then it just shows me how much regardless I just need to make the time for it, right?
Well, so that's, I guess that's my point. Like, it's sometimes I mean, and that maybe was not a great example, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, you choose something that has an instant.
Yeah, no, I share because people have different degrees of how they feel about things, right? And so it's still important to recognize all these degrees and like tie it back to what you're saying. Yes.
Well, and I'm a very big believer in having grace for yourself because you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be a 10 out of 10 every single day. And that's okay. That's not how you're consistent. You're consistent by tomorrow, you're right back on track. Okay, I went a little off today. I'm aware of it. Tomorrow I'm back on track. Consistent isn't doing the same thing every single day.
Yeah.
That's true. Recognizing, okay, it wasn't as great. It was an 8 out of 10 today. Tomorrow I'm going to be a 10 out of 10.
I love it. So we kind of talked about gratitude with health and wellness. How do you apply gratitude to your business life?
Oh my goodness. I am so grateful every day to get to do what I love and get to do it on my terms is amazing. There is never a day that goes by that I am not so grateful for the opportunity to really create the lifestyle, the business of my dreams to impact, and again, it goes right back to that choice. I guess is, like I get to choose to do this. Yeah. Is it always the choice that I want to do to sit down and do the work?
Right.
No, but I'm in choice. I'm not forced to be, answering to somebody or to be doing things on someone else's terms or building somebody else's dreams. You know, they always say, like, if you're not working towards your dreams, you're working for somebody else's.
Yep, 100%. No, I love that because, I mean, same. And, you know, we talked about this weekend. Like, when you're setting business goals, it's not just numbers and it's not just goals, but it's like, here's what I want to earn, here's what I want to accomplish, and here's the lifestyle I want to lead. So really, like, owning your future is combining all of these elements. Like, this is what I want and here's how I want to get there, right? And sometimes that means learning new skill sets. Like, you need to become more efficient in something so that you have this extra time for your lifestyle. Or, you know, I mean, there's freedom and discipline. And
Yes.
again, you don't want to be like, for me, if I were disciplined all day long, I'd probably be miserable. But I share with you like my 3 power hours that I do certain things, and there's certain activities I do every day. And because I do that, like, I'm free to do the rest of the day, like what I want or what I choose to do, or working with clients, or the things that really bring me joy, and be fully present. But if I didn't knock out like that power time and those daily activities, then when I'm sitting here podcasting with you, instead of enjoying the conversation, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so behind on this, and I didn't do this, and what about this, and I'm worried about this. And so there's definitely a freedom in discipline, and it works differently for everyone, and they have to see the rhythm that works for them.
Yeah, I agree completely. And, you know, it's the discipline is a muscle. It's a muscle. So, you know, like you said, you get things done and then you're free to do what you want. You have to give those muscles rest. I teach this even in my wellness coaching. You know, we don't have cheat meals, but you're not going to say no to every single thing that you would like to have, because at some point you're going to snap.
Yeah.
It's, you know, discipline is a muscle and it needs rest just like every other muscle in our body.
Yeah. I love that. I love that concept. That's so cool. All right, let's talk about flexing the muscle of gratitude. So what do you do every day to make sure you imbue gratitude? I know we talked about throughout the day, but do you have certain practices or things you say to stay grateful?
I journal every day to really track my gratitude. I know we talked a little bit about gratitude journals, but really just coming back to that place of knowing where I'm at, and working on being present in the moment and being really grateful for the moment that we have is a good reminder for me. And so thank you for the, you know, push to do the time blocking, because I've been able to be more present, and
Good.
which makes
You're welcome.
me so grateful to have that, you know, with my boys. It's like, okay, I did the thing, and now I am gonna sit here with you and be fully, you know, immersed in you and not thinking about the million things that I have to do.
Yeah, I love it. And I know we're talking about gratitude today and not time blocking, but everyone, when they see my calendar, they're like, wow, I thought I was busy. But it's not that I'm that busy. It's just everything's on there and accounted for. So, like, I don't have to think about it, right? Like, it's not.
Right.
And then, like, next week is my dad's 75th birthday. I thought I had to take this certification class all week. So I had blocked from 10 to 8 because it's Pacific time, Monday through Friday. And now I don't have to take that class. So I'm like, cool, I'm just going to go early and hang out with my family for a couple of days. Yay. This is awesome. And like, you know, I think that's like the power of really tracking your calendar, because when you're free, you are truly free. How many people like instead would be going to their dad's 75th birthday with a laptop trying to get work done? Now, I still have my daily habits, but guess what? I wake up before anyone in my family. There's a beautiful place. My parents live on the water, so I'll go get my coffee. I'll have this beautiful view of the water, and I'll do my daily activities. And then when I'm done, everyone will wake up, and I'll get to enjoy time with them, and everybody's happy.
I love that. I mean, yeah, we're not talking time blocking, but knowing ahead of time allows for so much more presence. Knowing ahead of time what you need to do, planning out, And I think that a lot of people would feel perhaps a lot more grateful if they were more in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Well, and because how much time do we spend? I think I shared with you because I do crazy things to test myself. And at one point I was like, I'm just going to eat one meal a day. I'm going to eat it at 2:00. I know it's not sustainably good for your health. I freaking loved it because I didn't spend much time eating. I didn't spend much time thinking about what I was going to eat. I didn't spend much time preparing eating. Like it was so, the reason I do that is to show myself where I get hung up on things. And so what I saw was, oh my gosh, you're wasting so much time like trying to convince yourself to eat the healthy thing or prepare the healthy thing. Like it needs to be planned or easier, right? So that's when I ordered the factor meals. And that's not sustainable for the long term. Honestly, they're a little heavier than I would like to eat for lunch. But like for this period of time when I didn't have time to figure it out, it was a great solution. So instead of only eating once a day, I'm now eating 3 times a day. But on Sunday, they're stacked. I know what I'm eating every day. And like, again, people are like, how boring. And I agree. I'm a foodie, but I actually love it because I'm not wasting that time and energy. And then like when we're in Sedona and we had the chef, I don't feel guilty enjoying like the steak that the chef is giving me because it's like this one night, right? Or whatever. Yeah, so it's really, that's what Whole30 taught me that. I did Whole30 and it just taught me where I was making automatic decisions instead of conscious decisions.
Yeah.
For example, you get on the plane and they offer you a drink. Like, for some reason, I felt the need to say, yes, I'll have a cocktail every time or a glass of wine I was on a plane. Like, that's so ridiculous. When I was on Whole30 and I couldn't say yes, I saw the inclination to do it and I was like, oh my gosh. And so for me, restricting myself shows me where I need to make better decisions. And then I come off the restriction and I make the choice instead of it being automatic.
Yes, that is such a key part in creating like that healthy lifestyle. I talk about this a lot in the fact that we live in reaction, not proactivity. We are just making automatic choices. They say it's like 75% of your actions every day are habit.
Yeah. And they're usually locked and loaded by age 35, by the way. So the rest of your life.
You're not even aware of it. The way you wash your body, the clothes you put on, the way you get dressed, the way you drive to work, the order in which you make your coffee. Everything is habitual. And that's why, in the book that I wrote I talk about really becoming aware of the things that are keeping you from your goals, because
I love it.
We are living in such an automatic, unconscious state. It's scary.
Yeah. And, there's neuroplasticity. You can rewire your brain. You can rewire your habits. So it's so crazy. I think it was 2020 when I first heard about neuroplasticity. And like, I grew up in the generation where we were told when you drink, you kill your brain cells and they never come back. So like, I was programmed that the brain does not regenerate. And I was sharing this with someone younger and they're like, what? You really thought that? But I guarantee most people my age were taught that, right? And so then I learned about neuroplasticity and how the brain regenerates and meeting new people makes connections and doing things outside of your habit and stretching yourself actually grows new brain cells, not just learning.
New
and
pathways.
I was like, this is amazing. Yeah. And it's so funny because I don't feel like I was a very locked and loaded person, like where most people, like their personality is hardwired by 35 in their choices. But when I looked at my life, I never had a very routine life. I did always stretch myself. Like, I mean, I married an Italian and moved to Italy. I left my law career. Then I became a financial advisor. Like, there was no time for the patterns to set in for me. So,
Yes.
like, I'm very grateful for that, and I feel blessed for that. And then, but realizing it helps me understand that not all my clients are in that same position. A lot of them are resistant to change, or it is challenging for them because they didn't have a life that changed so much, right? And they're at this point where they want change, and we have to break it down for them so that they can get there.
Well, you know what is interesting is that I think, you thought you didn't have habits and patterns, but
Yeah.
even those non-habits and patterns were habits and patterns. It was,
true.
could have been an addiction to change, an addiction.
Yeah.
Some people are truly addicted to chaos.
I had an addiction to my quick start energy. So if you know the Colby assessment, I'm a 9, which means you always need new stuff and new ideas and stuff. And I had to cure that because it can be detrimental to your business. Because I mean,
Absolutely.
part of what I coached all this weekend was the system I had to develop for myself to put
Yes.
here's my bumper bowling, here's the bumpers. So I don't upset and upend things all the time. And that's what we entrepreneurs tend to do if you're a true visionary.
Right.
So yeah, I agree.
But we say, oh, I don't have habits. It's like, you do have habits. You're just not aware of them. They may not be habitual like you think, but you, my friend, have habits. You're not an anomaly of the human species, human race.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, we are running out of time. So let's share one tip when it comes to gratitude. And then we will roll out of here.
All right.
So what would you like to share with the audience, a tip to becoming more grateful or infusing gratitude?
Yeah, my tip is going to be that anytime you have a negative thought, watch how you can flip it. Watch how you can change that negativity. It could be anything. It could be, I lost my job, to I'm so grateful for a new opportunity, to my boyfriend broke up with me, to it was probably toxic anyway. It could be anything, but just you can flip any thought you have around into a positive and look for the good. And that will really increase your gratefulness.
I agree. So a tip I would give is a little bit more systematic, because I like to build in hacks. So choose when you pass through a doorway, and I adapted something Brendan Bouchard taught us. He uses this differently, but when you walk through a doorway or you get on an elevator or go up a set of stairs, practice your gratitude. Yes. Have it as a trigger to say, oh, I'm so grateful for, or this was so wonderful this morning. It's so funny. Before I moved here to my townhouse, I was on the 17th floor of a high rise, and it was 18 floors. So the elevators broke half the time, even though it was this nice building. Everybody would be grumpy on the elevator because they'd been waiting forever. And I practiced gratitude. I was every time I step on the elevator, I'm grateful for something. And so it's so funny. I'd be in the best mood on the elevator and everybody would be bitching about things. And they would be like, what's going on with you? And I was like, oh, I'm just grateful that it's a beautiful day today. And then you would see them pause and stop. So now I'm not on the elevator anymore. So I have 3 flights of stairs. So every time I take a flight of stairs, what am I grateful for? Right? So just think about something you do in your day and use it as a trigger.
I love that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Jamie, this was fun. I know we didn't have our panelists planned, but I still loved having you on for the panel session because it's a more cozy, comfy conversation where we just chat back and forth. And you have so much wisdom and advice to share with our audience. So I'm so glad I could have you here. We will have all the information on where to find Jamie in our show notes. And again, if you have not subscribed to us on our website, Please subscribe to the Vixen Voice, and all of these goodies get delivered to your inbox every Tuesday and Thursday when new episodes drop. So, Jamie, in the meantime, where's the best place for our audience to find you, follow you, and what do you have going on now that they might be interested in? By the way, this episode will come out mid-May.
So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Jamie Duggan, or my website, empoweredhealthstudios.com. And keep an eye out for that book launch. It's coming this July. So really excited about that. All things drama-free health and wellness.
Oh my God, so excited. We'll send you pictures from the launch party because I'll be in San Diego for it. So Jamie's birthday and the launch party. Super fun.
Yes.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much. And as always, just remember the world needs a little more love. So how can you show up in love today? Love for others and love for yourself. And just remember our tips on gratitude, and that Jamie's telling you, you do have habits. So go figure out what they are and if you want to keep them or not. Awesome. Thanks for joining us today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.